This is a brief introduction to Google Scholar. One way to find it is to go to the grid, select More, Even More, and then scroll down to Scholar. This is sort of fun because then you can see all that Google has to offer. The other way is very simple. We just Google it. I actually have it bookmarked because I find it a very useful tool when I know absolutely nothing about a subject. So what is Google Scholar? Well, the easiest way to start is to look at About Google Scholar. And what it does is it searches across scholarly literature, across disciplines and sources, articles, theses, books, abstracts, and court opinions from academic publishers, professional societies, online repositories, universities, and other websites. Google Scholar covers academic papers from sensible websites. So what they have done is they have gone to reliable sources, and even from these reliable sources, they do not include all of the materials, but they have looked and saying these are the best of the materials from this particular site. To find a little more, you can click on Search, look at Coverage, and what is included. Here, these are major academic publishers. Now, what is included says we try to be comprehensive, and they do a very good job, but they do not include everything. They have worked with Hein Online and have many of the Hein Online Law Journal library available through Google Scholar, but not everything. And that's important to remember, that while they have worked and collaborated with these vendors, is that based on their own logarithms, not everything is going to be included. Hein Online has actually blogged about this and just points out that the most cited journal article is a comment that was written by Justice Holmes, and it will not be found through Google Scholar because it is a comment. Not including comments, notes and comments in particularly, since those are generally, not always, but often student written, not considered as scholarly. So it will not be retrieved through Google Scholar, although it would be retrieved through a regular Google search, but who knows where it would show up in a regular Google search results. So this is why even if you use Google Scholar, you should go and search these vendors, PubMed, JSTOR, Hein Online as well. Here, which court opinions? Well, U.S. Supreme Court, since we've had a U.S. Supreme Court, federal courts since 1923, and state courts since 1950. Here again, remember that there are important decisions in the federal courts and state courts that were decided prior to these dates. Think of Palsgraf from the New York. That's actually prior to 1950, so you would not find the Palsgraf decision on Google Scholar. You would find all of the cases that have cited it, but not the actual decision. How frequently is it updated? So, as you can see, new paper several times a week, but it can take up to a year. This is especially important on case law, as we don't know how frequently case law is updated. So it may not be the most current coverage. Just here, if we look at here, search tips, search by author, title. We'll cover a little bit in just our brief demonstration of Google Scholar. So here's your Google Scholar box. You know what? Google search box. Clicking on the menu gives us our Advanced Scholar. We'll play around with that a little bit. We have it selected for articles. We'll select for case law. As you can see, we can select federal courts, New York courts, or select courts. Now, New York courts is New York state courts. Does not include the federal courts located in New York. For that, we would go to select courts. We would select for New York. New York is in the Second Circuit, but I don't really want to see Connecticut and Vermont cases, so I'm just going to go to Court of Appeals. And then we could select for the New York District Courts. You see here we have a fair amount of granularity in what courts we want to look at. So we're going to start off with basic Google search of Jean Patents, Australia. I got this search from a student who was researching gene patents from several jurisdictions, and Google Scholar was a good place to start because with the articles, whoops, almost forgot, I wanted to point out settings. Because if I'm on campus, so it is going to, Google knows that I'm at Hofstra, so in the search results, it's going to let me know whether or not I can find the article at the Hofstra libraries. If you are at home, you want to go to the settings, library links, and add Hofstra University Library to your links. As you can see, you can choose up to 5. And what that will do is, while you are doing this searching, is that Google Scholar will then be searching the holdings of these libraries and let you know whether or not the libraries you have in your links will have that article. So we're going to Gene Patents, Australia. Now I have this in quotes. Putting it in quotes is the same as exact phrase. This works on regular Google here, and it's just a nice thing to know. So we're looking at, here are search results with this here. This is here, as you can see, in Find Article at Hofstra. In many cases, the article may be available from the original publisher. You know, here's from NIH, National Institutes of Health, government site. Many of us, including Hofstra, are making our scholarly output available on the web for a variety of purposes, but it also helps for other people researching. So here, Find Article at Hofstra. This will actually then run it through Google Finder, tell us about available in these sources. And this is kind of an uh-oh, because you see there is an embargo of 1 year. We have no control over this. Google has no control over this. This is up to the publisher of this particular title, that they are not going to make it available through these particular resources, the current articles available, for up to 1 year. This is becoming more and more common as what happens when it becomes available electronically. People then do not subscribe to the print subscriptions, and the titles would not be able to go. So what happens, you've got that article here at Hofstra. Well, it looks like it's available from nih.gov, but let's pretend that it's not. We could interlibrary loan it, and they give you, here's the site, how to properly cite the article. So what you can do, we have interlibrary loan for our students. So you have the article, you have the information, and this gives us all of the information that we would need here: the author, the title, the journal, volume, issue, date, and page number to interlibrary loan this article. So having proper citations is very important. Okay, if we wanted to look at filtering, this is sort by relevance. We can sort by date, or we can say since 2014. That's another sort of date figure. Custom range, here by relevance. We have cited by. So these will be, well, footnotes. Think of footnotes in your journal articles, citing to another source. That's your cited by, telling you what those cited by are. Related articles. Here again, they're not quite the same, but they don't really, well, we could go back to the beginning, and one of the, under about Hofstra, was the what related articles means. Okay. So what we want to have, if we were looking here, Gene Patents Australia, another way to modify, you can just add additional terms here, but we could go to advanced search. I'm going to take out Australia. I'm going to say anywhere in the title. Date range. And here. So notice how just by saying that the phrase Gene Patents must be in the titles, I have a much tighter search. This doesn't always give us flexibility. Well, I can say here in title if I wanted to say economics. See, it's putting everything in the title, and nothing comes up with that. So there are limitations on what can be done. So here we go. We want to search case law now. We're not going to find Gene Patents in case that here. Probably not going to find the phrase Gene Patents in the title of a case law, maybe. Putting in our date phrase here, 2008, then just search on case law. So as you can see, it just carried over the search that we already had into case law. How cited? This is a simple version. It's sort of how it appeared in the cases. And then our cited by this is a simple version of Shepard's KeyCite, BCite, but it does not give you the search functionality or the analysis that the commercial services are going to give you. And it's also, remember, we don't know how frequently this is updated, so we may not have the same case law. But it does have its useful portion, cited by, and then one could search within your citing articles. So that's a very simple overview of Google Scholar. It's a lot of fun to use, play with. As I said, it's a good place to start legal research, but please do not let it be the end of your legal research.